Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Awakening Happiness, where we discuss, share, comment, share our opinion on what makes us happy as we awaken our happiness. Today, a bit of a controversial one. Um, does money make you free? Does having money solve all the problems? And this was triggered by very, very interesting that this topic came about because Chris said something to me this morning, which was exactly the kind of message that I heard in another training that I was watching separately from Chris last night. And it was to do with a lady who was telling that she was not impressed by people who have a lot of money, who are billionaires, because she said she had a friend, billionaire friend, but he was completely um, in slavery to his billions. And she said, I'm not impressed by people who have money because they have no fun. They're not interesting. They're boring. They have a very un life that's not full of excitement and spontaneity. And I'm just not impressed by it. And then Chris came up with this sentence this morning, which was, what was it, Chris? Good
He's the
morning to you
poorest
as
man
well.
I know. All he has is money.
Oh, say that again because I interrupted you.
He's the poorest man I know. All he has is money.
Yeah, he's the poorest man I know. All he has is money. And we can go on all sorts of directions with this statement. What I see is what comes to my head when I read it and when I think about this is um, a superficially very affluent lifestyle with lots of things on the outside, and somebody who's not very um, open and honest with themselves to look inside and see what's in there.
Well, also, they don't have to do any work on themselves because they
Yes.
can brush it away by going retail therapy, going out for dinner, going to meet for coffee somewhere, going on holiday. Where it's basically there's no need to do any work because you're playing the game at a level which doesn't require any more development. You're just associating with other people who also feel the same, and that's okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that it's one style. And like, I can
Mhm.
draw, I can explain how, my journey on this. So first of all, I got a job, and my theory behind getting the job was that I love programming, and I'm in the programming industry. So do you know what? I already loved it. I'd have done it if I hadn't got paid. In fact, I did do something like that at one point. But I got that, and the reason I got a job in London was because I wanted to learn how to run a company. Because my observation was in my teens was that if there was a choice between working for someone or having your own business, I looked at the people who had their own business. They were driving big cars. They had big houses. They seemed to have more of a bit of a better life, really. So I thought to myself, hang on, if this comes in the same box and all I've got to do is pick the one I'm on, then that's the one I'm going to pick, right? It seemed like a reasonable choice at 15 years of age, right? And I said, so by the time I get to 30, I should have learned how to run a business, and I'm off. Right? I'm off to do my own thing. What I realised by the time I got to, I don't know, 55, having run a variety of different businesses, was that sometimes that when you're investing yourself in something new and everything else, there's a lean period, right, where you haven't got much money, right? But that's where you
Mhm.
do a lot of self development as well. And then there comes a period where you've successfully created something and you start to reap some rewards, which is where the money comes in. And that's what started to happen to me sort of around 2012, 2015 time. But then I took stock of it for 10 years. Yes, I've been in charge of my own business, and you might say to yourself in that respect, wow, you're being your own boss, and you're in charge of what you do, and it's like freedom, and it's really great. right, okay, let me sow a different seed, right, which is 6 o'clock in the morning on a weekend. One of my customers is going to work, 150 employees in the company, goes to work on a Saturday, can't get on the system. I get a phone call 6 a.m. Saturday morning. They're not supposed to be working. I'm not supposed to be providing support, but otherwise he's going to waste his whole day because he can't get on the system. So basically, I'm there on a Saturday morning fixing something instead of doing whatever I wanted to do. Probably sleep at that moment, but and then yeah, you can also extrapolate that. My colleague, someone who was working with me, older than me, he kind of got to the stage where I'm kind of getting towards now, where he didn't want to do much really. He wanted to work, he wanted to earn some money, put in his pension, so he could basically continue his lifestyle after he's retired, which he did do, around when I was 55, around that age. So I couldn't really. There's only like a small of us. It was three of us, two of us, three of us, and he was my technician. And I couldn't really go on holiday and bugger off all the time when something could have quite easily happened, which required both of our brains on the matter. So basically, I was constrained by what I could do because of having an employee, right? And it was like I got my handcuffs on, even though I was in my own business, right? And I decided when I closed that business down, I did close that business down. I kind of couldn't get rid of the customers fast enough once I decided what I was going to do. Basically, I was in prison for my
Hmm.
customers. My customers held the keys. I'm
That's what, yeah, that's what she meant. This billionaire guy, he's got all the money flocking in, but he's in prison.
yeah.
And the bigger the money, the bigger the prison if you haven't done the work before that.
And since then, I've now that business is closed. I don't earn any money from that business now. Okay, I don't have massive income, but I appreciate and have gratitude for every single thing I've done in my life. Every single thing has been a great, looking back, a great lesson. I've unveiled a few things, but the happiest I've been. If I want to get on a plane and come to Budapest, except with except for when we're in a relationship, having to like not justifying, but like just why would I do that? Because I quite like being around you, kind of thing. So what's the impact of that? But apart from the fact that I have all these choices, and no one, no one. If I just said, "Well, I'm going to go to Hungary tomorrow," it's like no one can stop me. There's
Yeah.
nothing to stop me. And if I want to go down the allotment with you on a Tuesday afternoon, there's nothing to stop me or you. And
Yeah.
when you suddenly start to get this, like this is much more valuable than money because actually money is just one dimensional. Like having people who you nourish and cherish and 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 love, like in your life, just brings dimensions that you just don't get access to with money. There's a
Yeah.
saying that says, money doesn't buy you love, but it sure as does allow you to rent it.
Gosh.
And that can take, yeah, read into that what you want, but renting love is not the same as having a loving relationship. Do you know what
No,
I
it's not.
mean? It's just not the same. And the spiritual development, and I'm not going to labor this, but the ability to see yourself as a living, breathing an organism on the earth, in the universe, not someone that's got money, which is a man-made invention, which is pretty worthless if you look at the state of the financial markets. It's like if that crashes, you really do have Zippo, and you've been except for the ability to make more of it if it all sorts itself out. You don't, like you may be able to run a business, but it's like, are you able to live a life?
Yeah. So I'm thinking about my last 2 years of my development. I had this job that was sucking my soul out of my body.
Mm,
And after so many years of being fearful of doing anything about it, it kind of got to a stage where the universe made it possible for me to jump out of it. And for the last 2.5, 3 years, it has been a roller coaster of learning. And it seems I put myself into a position, the current position I'm at, so that I can learn all these lessons. Because I did start building my side hustle, which is to do with these, where are they? With these oils. With these oils. And all I knew was you need to go about and you do this, talk to people, tell them that they need these oils in their life. And that's it, it's easy. But somehow it meant more control. And at one point I stopped. And what was meant to be a business that I'm developing in these 2 years to make me free and um, to replace my previous job turned out to be just as bad as the other job, like you were saying. From one prison, hop on to another one. So I stopped. I said, no, 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 that's not how I want to do. That's not what I want to do. I want to be free. But how do I go about creating freedom if all I have in my head are limitations, fears, scarcity mentality, and everything else that you can imagine, and the need to control the outcome? That's probably the worst and the biggest for me. Okay, I'm doing this, therefore I need to have this outcome. Why is it not coming? I'm doing this and it's not coming. How come? They told me these two were connected. Or I'm working on myself. How come I'm still stuck? I'm doing this, therefore. I'm doing this, therefore. So I was doing everything because I wanted to have a certain outcome, like controlling the result.
And when you look at the people that are successful in that industry, and this is the same in all industries, multi-level marketing type industries, regardless of the product. But you look at it, and the people who have got there know what's involved, right? But they have already learned the lesson that you don't push anybody, you don't try and get them to
Mm,
do this or get them to do that. You introduce them. The people can see you're doing okay. They know that it works. There's no need to justify that or validate the company or the products. They know they work. Now the question is, what are you going to do, right? And if you want some tips or you want some help, you got a problem, you don't know how to do this or that, then just feel free to ask because I'm here to support you. But as for telling the person what to do, now the difference is that the person who's successful knows because they've been on the path. They've had all the
mhm.
problems and they've been on the path. The person that's just joined hasn't even taken their first step down the path yet. How can they know what that person's talking about if they haven't done the journey? And the journey is self growth, self
Self
development,
growth. Yeah.
understanding all this stuff so that you can also do what they do with confidence and knowledge. And it's like, as a side business, I think multi-level marketing is awesome as long as you're giving it just a fraction of your time, because any more than that, you're now going back to the old business control days. If you kind of do it as a side business, you haven't got time to do anything anyway.
And then because you are loving it and you're not making, you have a different type of vibration attached to that. It's not the neediness and I need to do this and I need to control you, so you do this, so I have that. It's like, stop it. Because it's not working and you're causing more harm to yourself than you are, and actually to other people, because you're not serving them well. Because these oils might be really good for them, but the way you are telling people about the oils is
The
putting them
way you
away from.
the way you help them to discover about the oils, not tell them, the way you
Yes.
help them
Yeah.
discover, because it's actually, or if they don't want to discover, they won't read it, will they? Or they won't want to
Exactly.
talk to them.
But when we have this, when all our attention is trying to control people to affect their certain behavior, we can't all our like 100% of our attention and energy is in this
Mm.
direction, so we can't see anything else around us.
I mean, one of the things that dawned on me was the way society is kind of rigged up is that you have two types of people. You have people who are very aggressive and dominating and controlling, and they're people who run businesses and stuff like that, in general, just I'm generalizing. And then what you have is you have people who are employees or subject to the slavery or domination by those other ones, right? That's
Mm.
kind of how society's up, and it's not very positive for anybody. It's boss and, slave, really. That's kind of what it
It's
is.
the victim and the
Yeah,
rescuer, or
and
the
society's really quite is set up
mm.
like that, and we kind of acquiesce to it, either one camp or the other. But actually, you can replace those words by someone who is nurturing and supportive, who's strong, but can do that because they're strong. And then the other people who are both cherished and nurtured because they don't have the same skill set that those others have, but they have other skill sets. And that is a harmony because no one's being told or controlled. They're just doing what they love. And like a baby and the mum, the baby didn't ask to be there, did it? But basically it's cherished and nurtured by the mother because of this relationship. The mother's in control, the baby's a
Mm.
slave. but it's not called that, is it? It's the mother who is absolutely nourishing and cherishing, and the baby who is being cherished and nourished.
And then it stops at about the age of one. After 1 year, this unconditional love disappears.
No, the unconditional love remains, and you're a mother.
And then the mother starts telling the child what they shouldn't do and what they should do, and it's turning into a bit of a control.
Unfortunately, there's no guidebook for being a mother, is there, or a father, or being a baby, right? And so consequently, it evolves. I mean, but it evolves in the environment that has been created, and shouting at kids or raising a voice or using expletives or basically telling them to stop or do or whatever. Well, it's basically putting in place this domination and slave idea, and then people can pick a camp. Oh, I don't
It's
want
like a
this. I want this.
paradigm, yeah. We
Yeah,
have this paradigm of control, and then we probably have another one where there is no control, or one is called drama, and the other one's called I don't know what, freedom.
yeah. Now, how that maps out? It's hard work, but it's much easier to whack the kid and basically say stop doing that. Right? More difficult to look at yourself and encourage yourself to perform in a different way
Mm.
to help the child grow. That's a different thing. Now it's harder. Yeah, it's harder because we're not used to it, are we? I don't know what they were doing in the North Indian camps over in India, North America, when the natives that were there. No prisons, nobody getting sent away or locked up or anything. No, and they've managed to have a community. How did they do that? Well, I suspect the older people in society. This is another discussion. The older people in society were there to nurture the young ones, and the adults could go off and do whatever it was that they were specialists in, so that the whole community could work effectively. And the older people were using their wisdom and their patience and their
Yeah.
to bring the children up. So like it's just a different world. Like and we've kind of stepped off the path into some road to hell. I think.
It's somehow we saw the dollar signs on a flashy screen, and we thought, okay, that's it, we want that, because this means it's going to solve all my problems, and I'm going to have an amazing life, and I'm going to be free to do whatever I want, and buy this and buy that, and be happy.
Rewarded
But
for
there
money,
are
not
a lot
rewarded.
of people like this billionaire that she was mentioning about, this billionaire friend of hers. he has these fears that someday, one day, he'll wake up and he will not have his billions. So he still got scarcity and fear of losing it.
Well, like I say with you, when you've got money, with money, we've got two things. We've got fear of hanging on to it, or fear of not having it, not having it in the
Yeah.
first place. So there's fear in both camps. One's like, how do I put this money so no one it doesn't get stolen, and the other one is, how do I get some money in the first place? They're both problems, but they've got different answers. And
They've got different answers, but do they come from the same root cause where you don't trust that there is enough for everyone? This is the scarcity or lacking of scarcity, the lacking of
or
abundance, or
I would be equally happy without any money. Like it's like, how could you say that? Well, if your life is based on what am I going to do in the next minute, like it's an adventure. It's like it's cause and effect, and I don't know what's going to happen next. So I'm already filled up with potential to do whatever I'm delivered with, versus I think I've mapped out how I'm going to keep all this money, and then finding that the world doesn't have the same attitude to you, or the same plans, and
mm,
then it gets whipped away, and suddenly you're destitute. Like I think it just if you know that destitution is a potential, and you're already resourced up to deal with no money, it doesn't matter, does it?
mm.
Doesn't matter.
And that's what I think is happening to my situation, where I deliberately put myself in this place where I have a very unsecure um, money situation, and it's causing me all sorts of troubles, which actually teaches me a lot, and I overcome all of this and learn to let go and to heal the wounds. And I think that because it didn't make sense really, because everybody was saying, well, you can always get a job and stop being worried about paying the rent or whatever. You can always get a job. And I said, I don't want a job. And I didn't really know why I was always saying that. And I was very stubbornly standing my ground and saying, no, I want to do my thing. And it's not because I'm some kind of a like egotistical maniac who wants to do my thing or nothing. No, it was some force was pushing me to stand my ground.
I mean,
Now
I,
it starts to make more sense.
I will say this really. This is, and every book has the hero's journey, right? This is the battle for Middle Earth. This is in Lord of the Rings. This is the battle for Desi Stefanova. This is the battle of you.
Yeah.
This is to own you.
This is me becoming sovereign. And it's not just on the matter of money, being independent with your own, running your own income and not having a salary or a job. This is being sovereign on every possible dimension that I can imagine. Maybe there's more dimensions than I can imagine at this stage of my being. Like you
Yeah.
said, I thought I knew it when I was 10, then I knew it when I was 20, then I knew it when I was 30, and so on. But every time you thought, oh, how could I have known it then? I was just a baby then.
It just goes on until
Same
the
with us. We keep growing, and then the next step will be revealing a lot more potential, and it just grows upward. What was it you were saying? Like a spiral upward, a
yeah. I mean, the
hero's journey.
spiral of understanding, if you like, is it's like a spiral. You go
But
round and
it's
round in
but it's
circles.
in a inverted.
Yeah, it's you get more. The more you know, the more you know. There's left to know. Like, but you're going up, and you can't go from the bottom of this spiral to the top of the spiral without traveling the path. It's like the path is necessary now, whether you whether you think you're on the path and you're not really, or what is the path, or what's my path. Yeah, that's one of the paradoxes of life, isn't it? It's like for you to find out. No one can tell you because it's not their life. It's like it's your
Yeah,
life.
it's only yours.
Stop
Yeah.
looking for solutions over there when the solutions are inside you. And I know it's trite. I know people say it all the time, and they say, "Oh no, yeah, the solution's inside you. It's an inside job." Yeah, but really and truthfully, how can anybody else take on your life? They can't. It's you as a complete entity immersed in it. Nobody else.
Mm,
So
yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. So maybe we can stop at this point because there's so much more to say about this topic, but let's leave it for another time, another session.
that's something else will drag us back onto it for sure. But yeah, you could talk for hours on this, but probably an
Yeah.
episode in a bite-sized 25-minute chunk. There you go.
Yeah. Right. So thank you for watching. And if you liked our musings today and our reflections, make sure to subscribe. Uh,
Share the
we
channel, do whatever.
yeah, share it, like it, press the bell for notifications, and see you on another one.
Yeah.
Bye for
Bye
now.
for now.